right, Shalom Makiyam out there. First and foremost, before I get started, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akakodash. All right, I want to give double honors to the apostles, our great millstone who taught me this word. Wa Shalom to all you brothers out there that's teaching this word in truth and sincerity. All right, brothers, back at it with another lesson. The title of this one is going to be pretty much, well, let me see what I have my title is. Slakia. It's pretty much is based out how money won't save you in these last days, man. All right, and the true riches are knowing the Lord, man. Okay, we kind of went into this a little bit last week on our Thursday lesson entitled "But Ye Are Rich." All right, the true riches is from the Lord, man. You know, and what people call today as money isn't real money, man, and it's not gonna profit you in these last days, man. You know, so Lord willing, this lesson may be edifying. You know, I got some scriptures to go through, and Lord willing, it may be edifying unto you brothers and few sisters out there. All right, so we're gonna start with Proverbs the 11th chapter and the 4th verse. It says, "Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death." Right, and the day of wrath is upon us, man. Okay. What is the day of wrath, you may ask? Jacob's trouble, man. All right. Calamity, famine, okay. Martial law troops, man. All right. All type of destruction happening. All right. in these last days, man. And you already see it. It's not like we, us brothers, we speak about something that, you know what I'm saying, you don't see. All right. Jake got a chance to breathe a little bit. Because they then reinstated the stamps just for a little bit. It's just like putting a Band-Aid on top of a crucial ass wound, without putting the ointment on there and cleaning it out. You just slap a Band-Aid on there. All right, that's what America is right now, man. This place is about to blow. Okay, and our people are constantly concerned with money, man. All right. So I'm going to read that again. It says, "Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death." So it's only going to be your righteousness, okay? Really being part of the elect, because that's who's Lord's saving in these times, man. The elect and the 1/3, man. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So it says, "But righteousness delivereth from death," man. All right? So you want to be on the Lord's team, man. Okay? You don't want to be, how these people are, man. I actually got a couple pictures I want to show you, brothers, man. Because this culture right here, just all you gotta do is type in "people holding money to their ear." You see this dude twice. Jake, they made it into a fad. Trusting in this money, thinking that they got everything, man. When you really got nothing, you're so much behind, spiritually. So let's jump down. Let's go to the same chapter, verse 28. Proverbs 11 and 28. All right, it says, "He that trusteth in his riches shall fall." Look at that. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, man. So if you trusting in your riches, you know what I'm saying? Thinking that's gonna get you through. All right, you're much more behind, man. Okay, because the Lord don't give a damn about none of that. This ain't even real money. Okay. It says, "He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch." Right, because what we're building, it, like it says, store your treasures in heaven, man. Let's get that one. What's that? Matthew 6. Matthew chapter 6, verse 32. No, wait. This applies too, though. This, take no thought. Let me type it in. What is that I just said, man? I forgot about it already. Uh, Damn, brother Salakia. Lord willing, it'll come back to me, man. I don't know why. It just slipped my mind, man. You know. Let's read that last one though. I was in Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11 and 28. It says, "He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch." You see? So the righteous is going to flourish as a branch, man. All right? Because we're holding our trust in something that's true. All right? Something that's faithful. You know what I mean? And you know, this world is going to pass away. You see what I'm saying? So let's go back. Let's get Proverbs 23 and 4. All right, Proverbs 23 and 4. It says, "Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom." Right, because our people, that's their whole thing. When they laboring to be rich. All right, they not laboring, all right, to understand what times we're in, like what's going on in the world, man. You know, what is this devil doing? You know, because if they did, they'd understand that he's your enemy. First and foremost, he's your enemy. You know what I mean? You got to understand who you are. All right. You are Israelite. You're not black. You're not a Latino. Okay. You're not a Native American. All right. West Indian. You know what I mean? You're not none of that, man. You are an Israelite, a prince of God. Okay. And your power name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai, man. All right. You have to labor to understand those things, you know, and, you know, pray to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for him to open your mind up to understand that, you know, which takes labor. It says, "Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom." Right. Because it says in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, that you trusting in your own understanding, you pretty much you off, man. You know, you're not supposed to lean on that. All right, we're supposed to lean on what the Lord gave us, okay, which is everything in this book, man. All right, taught the right way. All right, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of false prophets, a lot of false teachings out there. You know what I'm saying? Even they of the circumcision, man. You know, so pretty much the doctrine of a great millstone, which is 100% truth, if you didn't know. All right, of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. "Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom." It's verse 5. "Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not?" You know, like, are you gonna set your eyes upon or put your whole stock in something that's not? You know what I mean? That's what the Lord is saying here, man. You know, you counting on this to stay here and to be here when it's gonna flee. All right. It says, "For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven." You see? So all these jakes in they so-called riches, man. You know? I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna mute the video because, you know, it got some crappy song. But all these jakes and their money, man. You know what I mean? It's gonna fly away from them. You know, just like you know, the people before him, you know, just like, you know, just going back to, you know, the 60s and the 50s, all those jakes, you know, who was in the entertainment industry, you know, the Temptations, you know what I'm saying? Marvin Gaye, you know, that generation. And then you got the, you know, the 80s and the 90s, you know what I'm saying? You got Too Short, Sugar Free, you know, these are men, they up in their age now, and they still doing shows, man. You know what I mean? As if they're a young man. Because them riches fly away as wings, man. All right? That's something that you got to constantly worry about, constantly think about getting, you know? So the scriptures say, "Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle towards heaven." All right. And that's exactly what it's going to do. All right. For everybody that's trusting in their riches, man. You know, and you Jake's going to understand that it's not going to profit you, man. You know, once the Lord, you know, really makes it clear, you know. All right. So um let's get another one. Let's see. Let's get because I got a couple of them that I had. Let's get James 5. James 5. And then after this scripture, we're gonna get into what's the true riches, man. Which is knowing Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? This is James 5:1. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." Right, because there's gonna be many great miseries that are done to them in the last time who dwell in great pride, man. You know? Because a lot of these people that are rich, okay, these Edomites, these heathens, man, okay, and our people too, all right, they're prideful, man. You know, one person that just came to my mind is Steve Harvey. That prideful ass dude, man. You know, he said the best thing you could do for poor people is to not be one. You know, that's some low down dirty crap right there, man. You know, but that's how they think they envious, they proud. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be great miseries that come upon them, man. All right, that ain't the spirit of Moses, man. All right. It say that Moses, you know, he chose to suffer with his people, man. Okay. You know what? Let's get that one real fast, man. Open up another tab and I know it's in Hebrews, but let's see if anything's pop up. Okay, nothing. Sin for a season. There it is. Hebrews 11:25. We could probably start up just a little bit. This is Hebrews 11:23. It says, by faith, Moses, right? Because you got to have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. All right. In the Lord, man. All right. Because our people got faith, but they got faith in the wrong things. They got faith in that direct deposit that it's gonna hit, you know, and they got faith that they're gonna do what they gotta do to get this money, you know. But you putting your faith in the wrong thing, you know. Your faith is supposed to be in the true power, man, in his son. Okay. So it says, by faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw that he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Right, this is going to the story of Moses, man. You know, it says when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High, which is the Israelites, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. You see, because Moses, he could have been right by the king. You know what I'm saying? He could have been living a luxurious life, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Because he had favor when he was a boy. You know what I mean? So it says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, so when he grew up, when he was come to years, he refused to be called the son of the Pharaoh's daughter. Like, I'm not about to be with the, them damn Egyptians, man. You know, I'm about to choose rather to suffer affliction with my people, you know, to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. All right, because that's all it is. You know, Steve Harvey, Jay-Z, all these rappers that you can think of right now, they all just enjoying the pleasures of sin for a season. Okay. Whether if you're an entertainer, whether if you're a rapper, whether if you just a Jake who hustling and selling drugs, man. You know what I mean? You enjoying the pleasures of sin for a season, and you may seem like you get away with it too, you know. But the Lord is not slack, man. You know. So let's go back. Oh dang, I didn't even open a new tab. Let's go back to that last one there. Yeah, James 5:1. It says, go to ye now, ye rich men, weep and howl, for your misery shall come upon you. All right. It says, your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Right, because these riches are corrupted, man. They're not the money is corrupt because it was gotten corrupt. All right, it's blood money. All right, you know, how many people died over this fake ass money, man. These FRNs, man. You know, so this is corrupted, man. All right, and it corrupts the minds of our people. All right, it says your riches are corrupted and your garments moth eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have reaped, you have heaped treasure together for the last days. Let's read that in the NLT. I'm gonna grab it from my phone real fast. This is the book of James, chapter 5, verse 1. It says, "Go to ye now, you rich men." I'm sorry, this is in the NLT. It says, "Look here, you rich people. Weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you." Yeah, man. It's a lot of terrible troubles that's about to come. Like, hey, the miseries. It says, your wealth is rotting away, and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags. Your gold and silver have become worthless. All right, worthless. Watch the movie The Road. Okay, when they was using, I believe it's in the book of Eli too. When they was using $100 bills to keep a fire warm. That's how you know in the day of the Lord's wrath, it's not going to be profitable to you. Okay, it says, your gold and silver have become worthless. The very wealth you were counting on will eat away your flesh like fire. The treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment. Man, that's heavy, man. The same treasure you got, it's gonna be evidence against you in the day of judgment, because that's all you cared about. That's all you put your trust in. All right. That's all you. Every day you woke up, oh, man, I gotta find a way to get this money. I gotta rob a nigga. I gotta do whatever, man. Or you may be a Jake that just, you taking care of the family, right? You got 2 jobs, so to speak, and you so-called doing the right thing in the eyes of the world. You still not right, man, because you have to be serving your power, man. All right, you have to know the Lord. You know what I mean? So even like a Jake that's so-called doing the right thing in the eyes of the world, he gonna be destroyed too. He gonna be put to death too. Why? Because he didn't build no relationship with Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So he gonna be through. So it says, this treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment. And that goes to all our people who, who think that this money is just everything, man. So let's go to now we're gonna go to the true riches of the Lord, man. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 9. And we'll start at verse 23. This is Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 23. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches." All right. So let not a wise man who's wise according to this world, okay, glory in that, man. Let not even the mighty man, okay, a bodybuilder, somebody, who's super dope at martial arts, let not him glory in his might. It says, let not the rich man glory in his riches. So a super rich dude who, been wealthy, pretty much his whole life or his whole adult life. All right. You ain't supposed to glory in that. It says, but let him that glorieth glory in this. So if you're going to glory in anything, okay, you're supposed to glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me. All right. And that's a blessing from Yahweh Shem Yahushai, to understand what his will is, understand his true characteristics, Because it's a bunch of lies out there who the Heavenly Father and His Son really is, man. You know, starting with the names. You know what I'm saying? Our whole lot, we was thinking Jesus Christ, Jehovah, you know, all that, man. You know, brothers know. You know what I'm saying? But it says, let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord, which exercises loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord. So these are the things that the Lord's delight, you know? Like, forget all that tangible stuff, man. You know, all that's going to pass away. The fashion of this world is going to pass away, you know? This job you got, you know, your car, you know what I mean? All the clothes in my closet, I don't give a damn. And I'm sure I speak for you brothers as well. As long as I got the Spirit of the Lord, man, you know, and understandeth and knoweth Him, you know, we'll be good. You know, Lord willing, we could keep that Spirit upon us, man, you know, because it's a fight. Okay. So, yeah, oh man, that's a spirit. That scripture I was thinking about earlier, I got it, man. It is in Matthew 6 too. Man, that's a spirit. Matthew 6:19. This is the one that I wanted to get a little bit earlier. Matthew 6:19. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt." You see? Laying up yourself treasures on earth, like you could take it with you. You know what I'm saying? We ain't taking none of this with us, man. The only thing we taking with us is our spirit, man. You know? That's why the Lord said your spirit has to be right. Okay? Because we're going to get new bodies, Lord willing. You know, we're a part of that number. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal." Right? Because a thief could come in your house and steal everything you got. You know, and this happened to these celebrities, man. You know, go in their house, take everything, you know, or take a large amount, you know what I mean, of jewelry, you know what I'm saying, prized possessions, you know. Hey, in January, when all them houses, in what was that? I forget exact city, Altadena, you know, but those fires that happened in January, man, you know what I'm saying? And the Palisades, you know, all those damn people, those rich Edomite houses and all that, they couldn't take it with them, you know? It was all gone by the thief, you know? Because we know them fires wasn't accidental, okay, or just nature, all right? Those fires were planned, okay? You know, and that's all I'm gonna speak on that. You know, y'all brothers know. But it says, "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven." Right? You know, learning these scriptures. All right, learning these breakdowns. You know, fellowshipping with your brothers. Okay, this is all laying up treasures in heaven, doing the work, going out week in and week out. All right, that's us laying up our treasures in heaven, man. You know. It says, "Where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt." All right, because that's up there with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? That's fresh and clean. You know what I'm saying? Like a fresh and clean folded, like when you fold your clothes. You know, you nice little crease. You know what I'm saying? All right. It says, "And where thieves do not break through or steal, nor steal." Right, because Esau can't take this. You know what I mean? It says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." And that's heavy, man. All right. Because our people treasure is that money, and that's where their heart is, their mind. You know, our treasure is Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and it's truth. And that's where our mind is. That's where our mind is geared towards, you know. Lord willing until the end, man, you know, of this man's system. So I got one more, and this is from the book of Isaiah, chapter 33. You know what I'm saying? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 33:6. It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." You see? and strength of salvation. It didn't say, you know, a stack of hundreds. You know, it didn't say a room full of Jordans. You know what I mean? Because our people use all that as money too. You know, they use that as shoe collectors, man. You know, they buy them and then they sell them. You know what I'm saying, for crazy prices. You know, this world is wicked, man. It's a lot of scammers out there, man. You know, ain't gonna be no scamming in the kingdom of heaven, man. You know. It says, "In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation." So that's what's going to be our strength, you know, and stability is knowing Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. And His word, man, it's going to be in our mind, in our psyche, you know, in a time of trouble. You know what I'm saying? It says, "The fear of the Lord is His treasure," right? Because that's what drives us is fearing Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay. You know. So with that, brothers, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, that's pretty much everything I had. You know, it's more scriptures on it, you know, but Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to you brothers and few sisters out there. You know, I'm going to close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. You know, the body Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for putting the spirit upon me to do this video, you know, and, you know, stay up, brothers. You know, we almost out this Jones. You know, and shalom. Till the next time.